Hello, lovely souls, and welcome to Shine's podcast, Raw with Rach. I'm your host, Rachel Whitecross, and I'm so excited to be bringing you this series this summer. Raw with Rach is a podcast series where we discover the beauty of self-care, mindfulness, and the incredible stories behind the people in our community. Some of them are from our yoga side, Shine On. Some of these wonderful humans are from Shine On Natural, our natural skincare, essential oils, and massage oil line. In this series, we're shining a spotlight on the incredible individuals who make up this community. They can be entrepreneurs, creators, wellness enthusiasts, and we'll dive deep into conversations around their experiences, exploring our products and practices, and what rituals they engage in that brings them joy and tranquility. So this podcast is no frills, no filters. It's raw conversations. I'm not editing. Whatever happens, happens, which could be weird and wonderful. Yes, and we'll get live reviews as well, which is pretty exciting. So my first guest, I'm very, very excited to be chatting with Dee today. Dee is from Thinkoutloud Wellness. She is a mindfulness coach, a wellness coach, a runner, a mum. She is just pure sunshine. I'm so excited to chat with her. Anytime we talk, there's always just positivity, and she's just a wealth of information but keeps it real. So I'm really excited to introduce you to her and hear what works for her, because she often shares so many insightful tips and bits of advice on her socials. So yeah, I can't wait for you to meet her, and let's get started with Raw with Rach. Yay! So welcome, Dee. Thank you so much for joining my first guest on Raw with Rach. I know, I saved it for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So Dee, yes, you wear many hats, but your overarching hat is mindfulness and wellbeing coach, right? Through Think Out Loud, but you're also a massage therapist, a mum, a runner,
coffee shop.
Coffee shop. I'm also just there's so much that's to you in your work that I'm really excited to get into and just share, and I'm sure we'll kind of unpack even more. And just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on Ngunnawal country. And paying respect to our elders past, present, and emerging, and also to the countries on which everyone's listening to. So, we're both on Ngunnawal country, if anyone's listening and wondering why we haven't gone any further. So,
and we're in the same suburb.
I know. Unbelievable. How lucky is that?
Yeah.
So good.
So grateful we're neighbours now.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. I actually think I saw you the other day after a run. I was like, I think that's Dee. I had the pram, and I was like, I think that's Dee, but I didn't want to yell out and be like, hi.
Oh, no, yell out. Yell out. I love that. That's what I love about Canberra. Walk down the street and run into people. I love that about Canberra.
Yeah, no, I love that too, but I wasn't sure if it was because it was early morning. So if it was someone else, they're this crazy woman with a pram was yelling out at me.
I think we should do it more often.
Get crazy, or
totally.
Just let it all out, hey?
And if it wasn't me, well, you might have made a new friend.
It could have been a doppelganger friend at that.
Yeah.
So before we get into conversations, I'd love to know what you've recently been reading. So whether it's an audiobook, book, article, anything.
Well, I have been obsessed with this new book called, I actually got it here, Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pelz.
Interesting.
So why I'm interested in this is because she talks about fasting, and in the past, I've heard people talking about fasting, and I've thought, oh, look, my body's going okay. I don't want to stuff anything up if things are working well. But and particularly my hormones and my cycle, but she fasts around your hormonal cycle. Now, I've never really been that interested in looking at my hormones and menstrual cycles. Like, if a workshop comes up about that in the past, I'm like, nah, not interested. But this has been really fascinating. So it's only now that I'm in my 40s that I'm actually interested, because I don't want perimenopause to hit me. So I want to delay
Yeah.
that shit as long as I can. So I feel like this is going to help.
Yeah.
Despite perimenopause, which I don't believe it has hit yet at 44, but I've been doing it for about 2 months, just following her protocol, and I'm already feeling really good. So I've
That's awesome.
lost a bit of weight, which wasn't my primary goal, but if you're gonna fast and you didn't lose weight, you'd be pissed, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that has happened, but my energy levels are better and I feel better in my joints and just, general overall. So this has been a favorite book this year, and a real game changer for me. So I'm happy with that.
That's awesome. No, I'm always on the lookout for a good book recommendation.
Yeah.
Um,
Not
so
ideal
I'll add
if
that
you're
to
pregnant or breastfeeding. So
I know, and
not the
there's
right time for you.
yeah, absolutely. And that's what I find as well. Like there's so many things that I used to do that it's not the right time for. It's not the season,
Yeah.
which I'm working, this is a different
Exactly.
season that I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super
That's okay.
interesting. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Thanks,
Mm.
Dee. No, I love that. I recently just read, which is not necessarily like self-care related in the topic, but I've just finished reading Spare, the Prince Harry book.
Oh, yeah.
So not at all. I have no interest in the royals at all. Like it's not my thing. But I loved it. But what I loved about it was just something completely different to the world that I'm in. It's got nothing to do with babies and motherhood, like that kind of thing. And it just allowed me to just switch off, and I loved it. But it's an interesting thing because I'm all about perspective as well, right? So you hear bits and pieces in the media about what's happened in those relationships, and then to have that perspective, I was like, this is interesting.
And
So
I mean, there's two sides, right, to everything, but also too, he has lived an incredibly complex life. Right? So that's super interesting. How do people still thrive with all that going on? And that's like running a business, right? You've got so many different parts. It can be complex. It can be hard. He's going through hard things, but he's also thriving. So I reckon it'd be super interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely one to add on to your list. Like, if you're open to like a different perspective, like I said, like I don't even know what the word is. What's the word about the people when it's all about the celebrity?
Bio.
Oh, I don't even. Oh, no, biographies.
Biographies.
I like biographies. I'm just not into like pop culture. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know the word for what it is. But anyway, it was an interesting book. So something to consider if you're like, I want to tune out and learn more about this perspective.
All right, put it on the list.
Yeah, that's it. We just put it on the list for later. So Dee, you have a super complex wellness life journey and you're even extending more now into like sound healing with your sister, and that is super exciting. But some of the key things that when you look at Think Out Loud, it's the mindfulness, it's the wellbeing coaching, which you do your walk and talks, and your vision boards, vision board workshops. So can you share with us how you got to this part in your wellness journey? Sorry, Violet's having I'm not sure if you can hear her in the background.
No, I can't.
Oh God, she's having a hard time getting to bed.
All right. Well, if you need to run out and we hit pause at any time, no biggie. Family first.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
So I guess my wellness journey started as a massage therapist. I was super inspired by my brother-in-law, who was traveling around the world with triathlon as a massage therapist. And, I used to ask people all the time, what do you do? And no one that I asked was very inspiring. Whereas my brother-in-law was just so passionate about what he did. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I did massage and traveled around the world myself with professional cycling teams, did some triathlons, some other Australian sports, tennis, lots of stuff like that. And it was really fun because you're surrounded by really motivated, disciplined people who are just doing exciting things. So that was great. But then when I was back in the clinic, I found that the clients that I did really well with were not the ones that had the injuries as such, but were the ones who had like chronic health problems, or they had some emotional stuff going on. So people would come to me more for the holistic approach, and they'd say, oh, give Dee the emotional ones, when they came through the clinic, because it was very much a sports clinic. So I ended up having all these clients who would tell me a lot of stuff. And when you've got someone half naked and face down, right, they tell you everything. And,
They're
they're
literally
feeling cared
bearing
for,
all.
safe environment. So people were telling me a lot. And I thought, you know what, I need a few more communication skills. And so I ended up doing life coaching. But at the time, I was also looking for something for myself, like, how do I do life? So there were skills for myself, but also communication skills for my massage clients. And then it evolved again, where I had dabbled in meditation and was using it, but more about visualization of success and things like that. But then I ended up having my own health scare, which I had a cancer diagnosis. And so I kind of thought, okay, I know meditation is good for me, but now I need to do meditation to be able to support my well-being. And I wanted to know that it was evidence-based and it was going to work, right, in terms of approaching my healing journey. So then I ended up studying mindfulness meditation for myself. And then obviously out of that, I ended up teaching it. But it wasn't my intention to teach at the time. It was just to help support my own healing journey. So yeah, we went from massage to life coaching to mindfulness. And now the journey has evolved again, and I'm studying counseling.
Yeah, I noticed you were doing that. So yeah, speak to us a bit more.
One of the reasons why is that I feel like half the time I'm counseling anyway.
100%. Yeah.
And I know probably every massage therapist, physio, hairdresser, they're all doing it unofficially. I think they're really good skills to have. But I've also had a lot of clients for a long time who they want to stay with me, even though they might need a bit more counseling.
Yeah.
They feel safe with me, doing the massage or the coaching. And I just think it would add value to our sessions to have those skills.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And will your counseling sessions continue in the walk and talks fashion, or will you go more to?
I think what'll happen is I'll end up using a combination, because I really love the coaching stuff. Like, I'm very solutions focused, tangible, accountability. I love that space, and I love making a plan. I like it when people leave a session and they go, right, this is exactly what I need to do. And then I love it when I get a text message and say, oh, and this is really typical. Dee, you'd be so proud of me. And I don't know how many times I've heard that sentence. And then they tell me what they've done. And that just, I love that.
Yeah.
So, and that sentence, Dee, you'd be so proud of me, just pops up all the time from a neighbor, from a massage client, from friends, like, and I like that person to be accountable, and I really like celebrating that.
Mm.
Like, there's
Yeah.
something really I'm excited for them because they're excited.
Yeah.
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 So I like the combo.
Yeah. And that's like, it sounds like you're giving people the opportunity to create clarity and give them actionable steps that then they're
Yeah.
able to, take away and implement into their life without, like, it's one thing to sit and talk and talk it out, but then it's like, well, where are we moving? What's next? What comes
Yeah.
after this? And
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like you're providing that space already with the
Mm.
work that you do. So yeah, it seems like a natural progression, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm a tangible person, right? I've been through stuff in my life where I've gone, all right, I've talked about this so much that I'm bored of my own story now. What are we going to do to get out of this? Or
Yeah.
what are we going to do to change this? Like, action is just so, it kind of makes you feel like you've got some sense of control in the situation, I
Yeah.
feel. And so that's what's helped me.
Well, I feel like it would also align with what you were mentioning earlier about how you do life.
Yeah.
Like, you can, one of my favorite quotes and something I've always lived by is like, people merely exist and that is the problem. To live, like, people don't live. It's an Oscar, I think it's an Oscar Wilde quote. I have to get it back up, the exact wording, but yeah, I'm not here to exist either.
Totally.
So taking action and taking responsibility is key. But that's amazing that you provide that space for people.
And there's another quote. Now, I don't know how it actually goes, but it's something about you can live to something about living to 80 or being buried at 80 but dying at 40, something that sort of concept. Like, it's easy to just die at 40 and not live your life, right?
100%. Yes, that resonates with
Now,
me.
totally ruined that quote, but you get the concept.
No, people aren't here for
I'm not a
actual
details person,
quotes.
I'm a visionary.
I'm the same. I do. I'm like, in my head, I've got it, and it sounds really good, and I know that it suits the situation, but it doesn't compute and come out the same way.
Yeah,
But
I get what you
get
mean.
the gist. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
You're saying, you get what I'm saying. Hopefully, everyone else understands.
Yeah, don't die at 40.
Yeah, basically, and come see Dee if you need some support with that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, quotes and numbers. Like, I'll be like, oh, I heard this fact. What was it? Something about a high number of something, and bull. That was really helpful information.
Yeah, I'm more of a feeler rather than a thinker.
Oh, 100%. Anytime I'm always like, I feel. Yeah, it's an empathetic approach. It's just who we are. Have you done the Myers-Briggs? I know we're going off topic here, but have you done the Myers-Briggs?
Yeah, I can't
personality?
remember who I am, but I've done human design.
Yeah, you're a
Manifesting generator.
generator. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for those who don't know what that is, I mean, look it up, put your birthday in, the location of when you were born, and if you know your time. And it comes out and basically describes what type of a person you are and then how you should live your life. And a manifesting generator is someone who is quite multi-passionate. So, I've got quite a few modalities and I can move fast on things. So if I come up with an idea, I can get into action and move fast with it. But also the way I need to approach life is not to necessarily be the person who comes up with the ideas, but for the ideas to come to me. So if someone says, like the other day, my friend said, oh, I really wish I could find some shorter walking guided meditations. And I went, okay, I need to create some walking guided meditations,
Yeah.
So, and then I can run with that. So I need to wait for the ideas to come to me and then run with it. But there are people who are manifestors who initiate ideas and then they get other people to execute it.
Yeah.
So what are you, Rach?
I am a projector. I know there's a lot more to it. I do actually have it written down. Projector, I don't know all the numbers, but basically I am very much need to be invited into the things. So whether it's like it's not necessarily like a direct invitation, like, hi Rachel, come to this party. It could be sensing that someone needs a particular conversation and then I'm invited to that conversation. It's having like lots of gifts, but also being like that, again, very empathetic, goes a lot on vibes, that kind of thing, but also needs to rest, which is something I'm not that good at. So I work best in like an ebb and flow kind of fashion.
So you need to build rest in?
Yes, I have to have rest in. And I've noticed that too, like if I even just like, a 15-minute meditation or, even a half-hour nap, after that, I'm much more productive than if I just keep going. But then like there's other elements within my design that make me want to just keep doing the things because I am quite efficient. But being efficient, I'm still learning and practicing that balance of efficiency also means being well rested and in a very like nurturing myself first. So
so it's a worthwhile tool.
100%
design.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've noticed people say after they've looked into their chart is that they can relax because it's okay to be themselves. Like
100%.
it really resonates and it's tangible, helpful things that you can apply.
Yeah, I agree. There was definitely a lot of like eye-opening things for me. One thing that has always happened throughout my life, and it's just kind of like basically a comedic thing that like we laugh amongst friends, but like there's always a story, like in the sense that like, I'm the person that would like go down, like if I was traveling, I'd like go down to get water and I'll end up in a drum circle. Like,
oh, right. Yeah.
That is me.
Yeah.
Or I'd like, I'm always like, just like, no, I'll just do this very simple, non-exciting thing. And then it's like this, it's like it's an experience.
It's exciting.
And so it is exciting. I have had a very exciting life. And like my friends always like, of course, like, this is, of course, this is happening. Like, no surprises. But that's apparently one of the numbers that I have in my chart is like, yes, you have all these experiences, but then I guess the next step is then learning how to share that wisdom, like sharing wisdom. And it's not always bad stuff. It's actually quite fun and funny and exciting, but it's like, what's the lesson? And then like sharing that. So I share a very similar chart with Lizzo, which I thought was interesting. So and it's like, learning then how to share that in a forum. So anyway, it's exciting. Ooh, look at you go, girl.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So I'm glad you raised that actually. So Dee, we've got, talk to us a bit more about your vision boards as well and how that ties into the wellness coaching side.
So the vision boards is again something tangible. Now, some people will say that it's not tangible and it's a bit airy-fairy, rainbows and lollipops, fluffy. However, and I would assume most people listening to this are open to vision boards anyway, right?
I'm sure there's eyes rolling, being like, airy-fairy. What?
Yeah. And, I think we've moved on from, we realize now that there's a fair bit of science around visualization and just taking the time to sit down and actually think about what you want. So the vision boards, So I have a system to the vision board, and I go through first your plan. So we think about what your theme is going to be for the next 12 months. And then we talk about your values, the things that are important to you, because they need to be in your vision. And we talk about how you want to feel. Okay. So, if you're quite low on energy, then it might be you want to feel vibrant. Okay. And because we know that, we go, okay, well, what can you do this year to feel vibrant? Okay. And then we come up with, all right, how are you going to manage your energy, look after yourself while you're working towards your goals? Because my idea of living my life is I'm either in two modes. I'm either taking care of myself, filling myself up, making sure that my energy, my body, everything's okay. And then once I have that energy right, then I can move towards my goals. There's no point going after my goals if I don't have the energy, because it's going to be harder. So I'll go through two modes. I'm either in one or the other. And hopefully you can have enough general well-being or good foundation to be able to consistently go through to your goals. So and stuff happens, right? Like we all have crises in our lives where you go, you know what? An example. So when my baby was 4 months old, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So that wasn't a year to be striving, going after my goals. That was a year just to look after my well-being and my family's well-being. So that year I had, I think, 4 goals, and they were really basic goals. But then a few years passed, we got through that. And then I had, 20 goals a few years later, where I had the capacity and the energy to do that. So, we have to be flexible. I think the reason, or the biggest benefit I get from my vision board is that when things get a little bit wobbly or I feel a bit flat, I can go back to my board and I go, okay, am I doing those things on there to take care of my energy? And what goals have I got to look forward to? How can I kind of keep moving forward? It gives me something tangible to do. So when I come up with my plan on the back of all that and a list of some goals, then I cut out pictures that resonate that feeling of the kind of lifestyle that I want. And I only focus on 12 months now. I used to focus on more, but things change, right? And can change quite quickly, which I've known.
Yeah.
And I just feel 12 months is tangible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that though. And this is something I admire about you, Dee. You're so you're so focused on your energy and putting your best self forward in order to, be the best version of yourself and to achieve these goals. And I think even just the system you've got, excuse me, with something like a vision board, there's a process to that. And I think that often gets missed when, or maybe either missed or misunderstood when we're talking about something like a vision board. I'm a huge fan of vision boards. I do them myself, but I quite like that, how you've also brought in that feeling element, which for some people I'm sure would be quite challenging. Like, how do you want to feel? Like, it's such an important thing to focus on, particularly if you're moving forward.
Yeah.
So
there's a quote by Danielle Laporte. I hope I don't stuff it up, but it's you're not chasing the goal, you're chasing the feeling.
Oh, I love that.
So it's like when I wanted to become a mum, I wanted that goal for such a long time, right? And it's not like just going out and buying a car.
Yeah.
And I read something of hers, one of her books, and she talked about, okay, well, why do you want this goal? And I thought, okay, well, I want a baby because I want to bring more love and joy into my life. And then I had a bit of a think about it, and I thought, well, if this baby doesn't happen, how can I get more love and joy in my life? And then I focused on things like spending more time with my nieces and creating more joy in my life in other ways. And so regardless of whether that baby happened or not, I still got to have that love and joy in my life, which is what I actually wanted.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in those feelings. Like I had a girl today who said, I just want to feel more authentic, more myself. And then we kind of go, okay, well, what does that look like? What does that feel like? They're all really good words to kind of pull apart and then find something tangible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. That quote, I'm going to have to find that. That was, that really makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that, Dee. Yeah. Sorry, now I'm just sitting here thinking about that. I think we'd do a lot better if we thought focused on feelings and what that would look like and feel like and sound like, and really, what are you chasing?
Yeah, it's such a good discussion. Like, you can use that in terms of how do you want to feel in your career? It could be appreciated, could be empowered, could be feel like I'm growing. And then it just, having those discussions and throwing around different words just gives you something to work with.
Yeah. I'm still hoping to get to one of your vision sessions. I can't believe the other week I was like, yep, now we're on. And then you're like, no, it was like 2 weeks ago. Like, okay, great. Right. So when is your next vision board workshop?
I need to lock some dates in with the place that I hire, but I usually always have them in January and February. And occasionally I'll put one in as well. Like I just did one in November. So definitely in the start of the year, I'll have 2 or 3 in the start of the year. And then I have run them in workplaces as well, which is super fun.
Yeah, that's so cool that you're doing that. That's really awesome. Yeah, I've seen you putting up a few posts on that.
Yeah.
About that topic.
The biggest one I did is had an early childhood centre. We did 50 vision boards in one day.
Whoa.
So I had 25 staff in the morning and 25 in the afternoon.
Oh, wowzers.
It was so fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. When you're in that particular setting, are you doing it, is it a vision board, like a personal vision board, or are they looking at it through the lens of like their work or within their team?
It depends. So I'm quite flexible in that. So this was like the early learning was a day for them, like a staff development day. And so it was all about them. But there was a big emphasis on well-being because they're such a giving, caring profession that they often forget about themselves, right? So it's really important to, for them, I thought it was really important to spend a bit more time on that. So it was very much just about them. But I have done vision boards with smaller organizations where we have looked at their values and then created like 3 goals around their values. So it might have been collaboration, right? Might have been one of their it might have been like connection, but then we talked about collaboration and they're okay, how can we collaborate more? And they decided that they were going to do a weekly huddle. And they were going to have, and there was another thing about well-being. So they were going to have more walking meetings, stuff like that. So when I go into the workplace, it can be usually half around, how can they support each other? It might be something to do with their top 3 goals for the next 6 to 12 months, how they're going to execute that. And then how are they going to take care of themselves as individuals or support each other? So it's really, I leave enough flexibility in there just to see where it goes. But I'm just there as a facilitator to be able to get them to bounce ideas off each other. And then we put their ideas onto one board and they all pick some pictures, and then they write on there what their goals are this year. So I don't get too much into the strategy. This is more big picture.
Yeah. No, that's perfect, Dee. I was just listening to you then, and you're saying, I'm a facilitator, and it's all about them, and I totally align with that. Within my work as well, like I'm just a facilitator. I'm just the person that's there. It's the children, or it's the client that's doing the work, and working within that flexibility as well. I think that's a wonderful way to work with people.
And they've already got the ideas. They just need that space to be able to share those ideas and know that it's okay.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. I like that a lot. Well, hopefully people listening, we can get in touch with Dee for some workplace collaborations and more mindful, like a mindful workplace. And I think I'd like to think that we're moving towards that. And there's always been a need for people like you, Dee, but I think, and I'd hope that now we're acknowledging that and actioning that. And it's something I've spoken a lot about. We're such a data-filled world, which I don't necessarily align with. But as you've mentioned as well, like there's more evidence now coming out about all the things that were woo-woo, like mindfulness, meditation, which has been around for like 4,000 years. We won't go there, but all those things that are just part of our self-care practice, or should be part of everyone's self-care, or well-being rituals.
It's becoming more mainstream. We don't have to justify it anymore.
No.
We know, we feel it, right? You and I are both feelers. We know if we're not doing it, we feel out of whack. And if we do feel it, we feel amazing. And that's enough for us. But for some people, the analytical minds, they need just that little bit more evidence, which is, the scientists and the data people, which is absolutely what we need.
Yeah, you need that balance.
Bores me to batch, it's boring for me, but I need those people to back up what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you to them.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for being those people. Thank you for having that brain. Grateful for you, because it's not my brain. Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay.
That is totally okay.
Because those researchers don't want to walk into a room with 100 people and teach them about mindfulness. That will not interest them. So if we can combine our skills, great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And knowing your skills as well, knowing your strengths is so important. So then you're able to do these things.
Yeah.
So Dee, recently you shared a lovely testimonial from Shine On. So for people listening, I probably should have done this at the beginning. There are two, like you've got Shine On, but there are two arms to what I do. So I teach yoga to kids, teens, and families to help them find their calm and to help them gain connection, and particularly with teens, giving them the skills to build confidence. And then we've got Shine On Natural, which is handmade natural skincare, essential oils, and massage oils, handmade with love by me, to support self-care rituals at home. So that's what I do, and I'm very grateful that you're part of my Shine On community. And I know that's confusing between Shine On and Shine On Natural, but they're like,
no, it's not. I get it.
It's the same thing. You get it. I'm so grateful to have you as part of that community and for sharing that. And do you mind if I read it out?
Go for it.
What you've shared, which was lovely. And I just wanted to speak a bit more to that, if you don't mind.
Yep.
And of course, it's going to take its time getting I was
the
organised.
reason I'm in your community is my daughter Poppy, who's 7 right now, is in your yoga. I call it yoga and mindfulness classes because it's more than yoga.
It's so much more than yoga. Yeah. And that's it too. Like it is so much more than yoga. It's yoga and mindfulness, and it's social emotional learning.
Yeah.
Yes, gorgeous little poppy. So Dee, you shared recently, and I'm just going to read it out.
Mhm.
Everyone is sending their kids to psychology to help kids learn strategies to self-regulate and find their calm. But I think your sessions are way more powerful. Psychology tells you the strategies, but you tell, show, and implement on the spot. It's also a dynamic environment with others, which gives kids real life opportunity to practice these strategies. And I love what you're doing. So thank you for that. That was really, yeah, it means a lot to get positive feedback, or to get feedback in general, but to have something so positive land in my inbox. So I was, and unexpected as well. It just really warmed my heart. So thank you for sharing that. And I'd love to know, we've been, in your experience with kids yoga,
Yeah.
have you found that it's impacted Poppy, or what
Yeah.
you've noticed?
The thing, I mean, I remember writing that and feeling very passionate at the time. You know, I was just hearing so much that, you know, there's so many kids going off to psychology, which is great, you know. But I kind of thought, you know, like often you're in those sessions and it's very analytical and theory based, whereas I just felt like your sessions, you're actually experiencing it. And I know that when I learn, I need to experience it
Yeah.
and feel it in my body. And I think you deliver that really well. I also know that, so my daughter's only 7 right now. And although she might not take everything on right now, I'm planting the seed.
Mm.
And the seed wasn't planted for me until I was 16. But I absolutely remember the moment when a guy was teaching me about lifestyle medicine and mindfulness. And it wasn't until 20 years later, I ended up at his center doing his course. And so if I can plant that seed when Poppy's 7, I'm really happy about that, because these are life skills where we all need them. I wish I had started earlier. I also like that, well, you're practically across the road, which is a bonus, but that you're another positive role model in her life. And the other day when we turned up to your class, she ran over and gave you a hug and said, "Oh, there's Rach," you know. And I want her to have people in her life where she has a good positive experience and role model. So I see this as not a 6-10 week yoga program. I see this as a lifelong journey where she's got positive role models. And the skills will eventually come and she'll be able to implement them more. But I really love the relationship that she's building with you, because you're a safe person.
Yeah. Thank you, Dee.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. It's really nice to hear that. And I'm super grateful to be a safe person for her.
Mm.
Um, but I really love what you've mentioned about planting the seed. And similar to you, I was 14 and I was given a book about feng shui. So it was my first introduction to energy, which I was attuned to, but had no idea. Much like when you're a 14-year-old girl, you don't really know what's going on. You think you know everything, but like, is it hormonal? What is it? So to have that book was my first influence. I tried yoga as a teen. It just didn't land. And it wasn't until, I'm in my 20s and then I'm like, oh, hang on. And it's coming back to that initial thing that really resonated with me at 14. So it's really, I agree with you, planting the seed young. And whilst children might not, and like kids, and I'm sure you've experienced this with Poppy, like you finish a session or you'll finish a day at school and what did you do today? Or like, what happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like they don't necessarily like, there's not much going on when they share what's happened, but it might be in weeks or months time that then they implement something, or they are reminded about something, or they say like, oh, hey, I did finger breathing, or I'm going to use this skill. And I've had parents come back later and say it wasn't necessarily that particular lesson or that particular term. It was, accumulation of those skills building that then maybe even a year later, they start using a skill because something else has reminded them about them, but they've already been exposed. So
I feel like she's talking about her emotions more. So she's more in tune with her emotions, which I think is really healthy, because, if you don't know what you're feeling in the moment, it's a bit hard to meet your needs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also something that we do in class as well is like, I'll get them to tune in and be like, okay, so like, where are you at now? What do you need now? And encouraging them to tune in and be like, oh, actually, like, oh, I think I need to lie down a little bit. Great. That's what you need. Let's honor that. Let's honor what's coming up to you, because children, they're so insightful. They just don't have the language or necessarily the understanding, or obviously they don't have the higher thinking or the cognitive thinking attached to that, but they know their bodies and they know that something's not happening or something doesn't feel right. So it's giving them that space. So I'm really happy to hear that she's like tuning in and talking more about her emotions as well, which is beautiful. Yeah, thanks, Dee. And again, I know I say it in emails, but I'm very grateful. So thank you so much for being a part of the community and for coming along each week. And also thank you for my birthday cake. That's something I'll just never forget.
Everyone loves cake, right?
And like you mentioned it at the start, like when we started talking about celebrating people's success. And I think just something about you that I've noticed is like you celebrate life. And like, life shit sometimes. And you're also not afraid to acknowledge when life is shit as well, which I admire. But you celebrate and you're joyful and you exuberate joy and you're a joy to be around. So I think
we're celebrating Tuesday today. We got a pizza tonight.
Yay!
Because it's Tuesday.
Why not? But like, why not? Like,
why not?
I say this to people, like, like pick your battles, and it's just like life is meant to be enjoyed. And
Poppy was using the word spontaneous wrong the other day, and so anyway, it was 7:30 p.m. probably supposed to be winding down, and I said, let's go to the shop and get some milk. So we went for a walk, and then when we got there, she had no idea. I said, let's get ice cream, and her whole face just lit up. And I thought, and then I said to her, this is spontaneous. And it was a beautiful summer night, and it was fun, right? And it was unexpected. Why not?
exactly.
It can be boring most of the time, right?
And that for sure. But she'll remember that. Like she'll hold on to that. And I find that with my nieces, they'll be like, hey, remember there was this one time, long story short, but everyone else was asleep. Me and my niece were up early, and I was like, do you want to go down to the spa? Like, because we were staying at a resort. And she was like, whoa. And so like I got her dress and we went down, we were swimming and we're in the spa, and we're in the pool, and like it was so early, like we're in Queensland, and the weather was beautiful. But the world was quiet, and it was just me and her. And something that I was just like, kind of like, oh, this will be fun. She still remembers that. And that was like 4 years ago. And she's like, hey, do you remember when we did this thing? And I'm like, that was awesome. Like, I do remember. But they remember those fun things and those little, anything that's going to make them feel special. Like she would have been like, oh my gosh, yes, ice cream, like with mom. Like, what a surprise.
That's life, right? Our life is made up of memories.
Yeah.
And we need to create those memories. They don't just happen.
100%. Yeah.
And if we're doing the same thing every day, it's boring.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't remember the routine and stuff. So we need to mix it up or spice it up.
Yeah. I'm coming up to Violet's first birthday, and so my mum was like, oh, you're not going to go overboard with decorations. It's like, I was like, 100%. I've got maybe 12 birthdays. I've got 12 events that I can go really over the top before I'm like, it's like, mom, you know what I mean? So like, of course I'm going to celebrate her. Yes, there's going to be helium balloons and streamers, and like it's going to be a theme. It's a theme.
Yeah. But
Why not?
I think it's even bigger milestone for you.
Oh my, it is a party for us.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I think it's more about the parents for 1 year. Because I
Yes.
still remember when Poppy turned 1, I was thinking, oh my gosh, she's still alive.
Yeah, and so are we.
I kept her alive.
It's a huge step. It's massive.
Mm.
So she's a week next Monday. She's 1.
Oh,
We're celebrating on Saturday.
yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it's huge. So I'm like, why would you not celebrate that? And
Yeah,
I will
totally.
be the extra mum. I don't care.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So yeah, just enjoy life. I think that's like a really good message. And
Mm.
yeah. And so Dee, like you've got wearing all these hats and you're being
Mm.
spontaneous with ice cream and things thrown in
Mm.
there as well. What's your number one like self-care tip, or what keeps you going
Mm-hmm.
to function the way you do?
Well, I have a kind of a non-negotiable where I have to meditate and move every day. Now, and in the morning.
Mm.
So when I say non-negotiable, like as much as possible. So the last 2 nights, Poppy has got up in the middle of the night and needed a bit of extra help. And so I would normally try and get up before she gets up, but when I've woken up, I've just been tired, right? And I've gone, okay, I'm turning the alarm off and I'm going to sleep. So there are times where it might not happen at the perfect time, but I'll still get it in. So
Yes.
yesterday, it got to about 5:30 p.m. and I hadn't got my meditation in. So I put some roast veggies in the oven. I put Poppy in front of the cartoons and I said to Poppy, Mummy's going to lay down for 15 minutes. And so I went into the bedroom, laid down, put a guided meditation on so I couldn't hear the cartoons, and then came out and flipped the veggies over. So I know that I have to have my meditation and my movement in. So it doesn't always happen perfectly, but they're the 2 things that stick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very similar. Movement is one, and like it's challenging, like you said, as much as
Yeah.
possible. It's challenging having a baby who is unpredictable,
Mm.
as children are, and as they should be,
Mm.
to get that in all the time. But it's like, how can I move in? Some days that might be yoga.
Yeah.
Sometimes that might be a yin yoga practice. But it's just
Yeah.
giving me that time to move, because you need to fill up your cup, right?
Oh yeah, it's just too important. They're the 2
Yeah,
things that help maintain my energy. And it
yeah.
might be my movement might be 10 minutes of weights in the backyard while she's watching cartoons, you know?
Mm.
And
And I
that's
think,
okay.
yeah, and that's totally okay. And I like that you do that. And something that I really love, and I've spoken to you about that before,
Mm.
is your Monday weekly
Yeah.
reset.
Mhm.
So helpful because, so for those listening, you do on a Monday, you do it personally, but you'll
Yep.
put it up on Instagram
Yep.
where you share what you're focusing. So it's one thing each week that
Yep.
you're looking at.
Mhm.
And then you share and you focus on that. And that has been helpful for me, and something that I've been following along with you whilst I haven't been
Mm.
like commenting and whatnot.
Mm.
But it's just a really great reminder that you don't have to be doing big giant things. It's just it's moving the needle forward, right? It's but
Yeah.
one teeny tiny thing that you can do to improve and you build
Yeah.
upon.
Yeah.
So I
So I do
missed
a
this
little
week.
check-in with myself, and it's 7 questions. And so I evaluate 7 areas, and then I go, okay, what do I need this week? So it could
Mhm.
be anything from sleep, meditation, or rest, um, movement, hydration, nutrition, stress levels, or joy. And so I go, okay, I'll have a little bit of a think about each one. How am I going? And then I'll just choose one thing because, you know, we feel like we need to do it all, right? But if I can just
Mm.
master one thing, then, so last week it was, I was going to pause more often for just 30-second check-ins. So just throughout the day, just take a deep breath in and out, notice how I'm feeling. and then take another deep breath in and out, and then carry on, because I just found like I was going a little bit fast, and it just helped me to slow down and be more connected to what I was doing, and just, be curious about what I was feeling in the moment.
Yeah, okay. And what was
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't realize you did the the 7 areas, but that's even, yeah, that's so interesting as well. I like that you've added joy in there. So you've got, you know, all the other elements, but you're looking at joy, which is beautiful.
Yeah, because joy gives us energy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and sometimes there, like stress is on there as well. And it's just a matter of, how am I going stress wise? Sometimes we can't actually do anything directly about the stress, but maybe I could look at joy and go, well, maybe I'll catch up with that friend who I know that whenever I'm around, I feel good, right? I leave feeling good. And that's going to help me manage the stress better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're looking at it sounds like you're looking at your energy givers in any given week, and that can be a variety of different things. So people, places, food,
so it's,
exercise,
I had a
all of
lady,
that.
hers was hydration, and she hated water. So she was putting, was it Hydrolyte or Barocca or something like that in her drink. Anyway, 2 weeks of that she did. I checked in on her 2 weeks after, and to her surprise, all her headaches were gone. So she didn't change everything. She didn't go, oh, I'm going to do exercise, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do this, nutrition, blah, blah. She just went all in on hydration. And yeah,
That's
it was quite
awesome.
an impactful result.
Yeah. But that's it. Little things can have a big impact, right?
Yeah.
And like this is a great example of just keep it, like, I mean, and water is such an important one.
And people
That
think they need
impacts
to
so
have a
much
big
more.
change,
Mm.
but they
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. It's like tomorrow I'm going, like starting Monday, I'm doing 7 days a week in the gym, an hour-long workouts. I've heard this so many times before. It's like, that's not actually what you need. And you need something sustainable.
Yes.
So I think I personally like, seeing your Monday resets and what you're focusing on. If anything, because it's a reminder to be like, oh, what am I doing this week? What is my priority? So thank you for that. I'm really glad that you share them. And so for people who would like to follow along with your Monday resets, where would they find you?
Probably the easiest is Instagram, Thinkoutloud Wellness, or Facebook, Think Out Loud.
Yeah, perfect. And you've mentioned that you've got your vision board workshops coming up in January, February, and again possibly November. But how if I want to work with you, how do I get in touch? Where do I start?
It's probably just easy just to send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, and then we can exchange an email. So in summer, I do rooftop meditation. Throughout the year, I do workplace mindfulness, or like self-care type workshops. And then throughout the year, I also do walk and talk sessions where we basically walk, you talk, I listen, and then we come up with a bit of a plan, a tangible plan, and then I keep you accountable. So I like that. Perfect. Because most of my clients are pretty busy, ambitious. They don't have a lot of time, so they get their movement in while they're talking. They feel good at the end because they've moved, and you also process things differently when you're walking, using your both left and right side of your brain. I find people solve problems a little bit easier when they're walking.
Yeah.
I'm
one of those people. Yeah, I'm all about that. And also, I mean, I could go on a big tangent about that and the benefits of walks and talks. But I also noticed on your website you have 2024 goal setting available, and that's one-on-one.
That's one-on-one as well. So with that one, because we're doing a lot of planning and workshopping, we'll sit down and nut that out together. So we'll create like a one-page template where it's kind of like a vision board workshop, but one-on-one. So we go through all those things. We come up with a plan for 12 months and we can get through that. So come up with your annual plan in about 90 minutes.
That's amazing. That is
we
incredible.
Go fast.
Yeah. But I mean, this is just who you are too. You cut through the bullshit. Like you just get to what needs to be
done.
Let's get it done. Yeah, I love that. What an amazing and like gift to yourself to start the new year with a plan in 90 minutes. That sounds great.
I love a plan.
Yeah. And also just
dabble, right? You can dabble. Oh,
yeah.
A bit of journaling here, bit of here. But let's just like bring it all together, all your ideas. Like, like I give you the structure, but it's your ideas. Like all the stuff in your head on paper into a plan.
Yeah. And it's like you've mentioned many times, like it's tangible, it's actionable. I imagine you could probably print it out and put it on your fridge or somewhere where you could see it.
Screensaver, computer, on your phone, your computer, put it on your wall.
Yeah. So you're constantly being reminded of where you're going, what you're focusing on. So yeah. And I guess just to finish up too, I loved your rooftop sessions. I came to you right before I got married, which is essentially right before I got pregnant. So that was like, what a time. But they're just so lovely. They're just such a good way. And something that I personally struggle with, like visualization, meditation, if I'm going to sit down and do it by myself. But the way you do it, it breaks it down and it makes sense. And you bring in that mindfulness-based approach, right? And there was one Sunday before I got married, and you mentioned, if you've got something coming up and how do you want to feel and, what does it look like? And we talked about that special day, and it was so helpful to me to tune into how I want to feel. And I think in the session you were like, is the sun shining? And you went through all that detail, but to tune back in on my wedding day and be like, what was it that I needed to feel? How did I want to feel today? Was so helpful. And like the weather, we got married when it was flooding. So it was like, it was not at all like my vision, but I got to keep that how I felt. And that was what I tuned into. I was like,
there was sunshine on the inside.
Well, the whole day was perfect, right? I kid you not. The day was perfect. Like it was going to be the best. But even we'll set up for the ceremony. We were all dressed and ready. And then it bucketed down. And like it had been flooding. Like I didn't even know if my family were going to make it. Like it was the floods on the South Coast. And then it was torrential rain, like to the point, like it was hectic. And I remember people turning to me and they were like, are you okay? And I just laughed because I was like, I've got everything that I need. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, sure, I didn't get married in the garden. Yeah, I ended up getting married in a tent. But like, who cares? I married Justin. I married the man, like the love of my life. And I've got all my favorite people here. And I feel good. I feel great. This is what I wanted.
And I like how you said, I've already got what I need.
Yeah.
I think that's the ultimate in terms of, if you're looking at manifesting or bringing something in your life, if you can feel like you've already got it, I think that's a really good place to be.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, but yeah, it was good to have, like, it was so helpful to have that experience with you leading into it, to be like, all the other stuff doesn't matter. Like, how do you feel? And I felt great. And there was all the love. It was the most love-filled day ever. Yeah, there was a bit of rain. And I do recall, like, I had my dress hiked up and there was umbrellas and I was standing there under a tree just laughing. And I was like, can everyone just stop and take a minute and take this in? Because it's really funny because, I had one one bridesmaid was stressing, like everyone was stressing, like, oh no. And I'm like, yeah, meh. Who
Right.
cares? What we have
Yeah.
a story, another
Well, that's
story.
the mindfulness coming out when you really need it, right? That's
Absolutely.
why
And
we do it,
once,
for those moments.
yes, yeah, exactly. When you're under pressure, and I think that's really important to reiterate, um, you don't practice mindfulness when, like, you don't do mindfulness because things are great. You practice mindfulness so when things aren't great, you're able to cope and manage and embrace it. Embrace the chaos, because tell me someone whose life is perfect and non-chaotic.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone. So if you know someone, let me know. But being able to embrace that is so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Everything that life throws at us. So
Mm.
yeah. Oh, well, yeah, you're doing an amazing job, Dee. And yeah, I'm sure, or I hope other people share their experiences from your rooftop meditations as well. And I'm confident, and I know that the people working with you would just be so stoked with the effort you put in, the results that they're getting, but just be able to share time with you. As I mentioned, you're an absolute joy. So
Thank you, Rach.
thank you.
And
Yeah.
thank you for being in my community and supporting my family.
Oh, absolutely. I love your family. So, yeah, we won't go into all the things I love about Poppy, but she's a champion. And yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for being my first guest. We did it.
This is great. I feel like
I
extra
know.
special.
Oh, we've gone it's like an hour-long episode.
Yeah, and we could keep talking, but let's not bore people, right?
Oh, and that's it. We'll save it for another time. Like, yeah, there's been many things you brought up, and I'm like, oh, and I'm sure we'll hang up and we'll be like, oh, we should have said that. Oh, I could have said that. I'll say that, but we'll save that for another episode. But I
Yeah.
hope you have an awesome year, and I look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing where Think Out Loud Wellness goes and where you go and all the journeys.
Awesome. Thanks, Rach.
Yeah. Bye, Dee.
Bye.
Bye.